Hey guys, I wanted to give a little bit of context on what's going to happen in this video. This video actually happened this Sunday, the day after we did our big family shed hunt on our farm, and Hunter actually had to leave that night to go get a puppy. So it was just Dad and I for the most part, and we decided that we really wanted to get some minerals out and some supplemental feed blocks out on our farm. And so our main objective for the day was to go and do that, but I took the GoPro. We did a little bit of shed hunting on the farm, found a couple, but then we went to the lease and we drove around in the pasture and we found, I think it was 8 or 9 sheds. I didn't get them all on video on the GoPro because I double hit the record button, but I'm gonna show you guys some of the clips here, and then I'm gonna come back here and talk about the Freak Nasty buck, one of the sheds we found, and just talk about some of our encounters with the buck and a little bit of how I plan on targeting that buck this fall. So with that, we'll get right into the video.
Something impressive here. Get it without even getting out? Sweet. All right, you found another one. Look at this.
I tell Heidi I found the biggest.
If that doesn't look like a stick, I don't know what does. Whoa, this is Freak Nasty. This is that Freak Nasty buck, Dad. He's big, that's the biggest. Dad, you're on him today. That's a cool one. It's just like right under that thing. Man, that's a weird spot for it. Guess not though. Maybe if I can find one today too. Out here on the lease, Dad found 3 already while we were just driving on the Ranger. One of them was a buck that we call Freak Nasty. Was one that we were trying to target this year, and I just never had any run-ins with him. But glad to see he made it, because he's gonna be a Freak Nasty buck next year. He's gonna be even bigger. So he shed over here somewhere. We'll see if we can pick him up and see how many more we can find. Well, just came across the creek. I don't know if you can see on the GoPro, but we got something over here. Just shining in the sun. Looks like a pretty nice one. Be a nice one. Haha. It's right in the sun. It's cool when they get bleached out and you can really see them from a long ways away. That helps me out. I only found one on our farm this morning while putting minerals out, so it's always fun to find some sheds. I was looking at something else and I was like, oh, got that one? Sweet. I was just saying there's a lot of deer that come out by this brush pile. No, I saw something next to it and then you saw it. Did it work just like that? You saw it after I said something?
You said something and I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. I'm like, you got that one? No.
I think we see a shed. Either that or it's a really deceiving stick. Is it? Wow, it is a stick. Huh. That one got us good.
So as you can tell, we had a lot of fun just driving around on the Ranger. It was fun for me too, because I wasn't just filming and messing with the cameras. So we ended up finding that big deer that we ended up naming the Freak Nasty Buck. This was a deer that we really didn't have many encounters with in person. He was always extremely hit or miss on if we got trail camera photos of him, but he was always on one specific side of this property. Now, if you guys had followed our season last year, you know we saw quite a bit of really good bucks on this particular piece of ground. And on November 1st, Heidi was set up on the pre-hung stand, and I went and did a hanging hunt on a different part of the property just to see what we would see. And that morning she actually saw this buck, and she said, I just saw a Freak Nasty Buck about 200 yards away, headed away from me. And at the time she thought it was a deer, a big 10-pointer that we had seen the weekend prior. But after talking to her and checking the trail camera photos again, we actually checked trail camera photos that morning, and we saw that this buck had actually moved in, and he was, like I said, he was hit or miss on when he was there. But we had a couple photos of him on different days, and when I showed her the photo, she's like, yeah, that was him. So we ended up coining that buck the Freak Nasty Buck. So Heidi named that buck, so hopefully we can get her on it this fall. But like I said, he was always very hit or miss on the property, and we tried to see how we could get on him and see if we could at least see him in person, but we really never could. And it was really interesting to try to hunt this buck. And I really believe that the edge of his home range was where on the property that we have to hunt. So it's really interesting to see, because there's him on one side of the property, and then there was a buck that I ended up sticking, the split G2 buck. He was on the other side of the property, and for what I could tell, their home ranges really never mixed, and neither of them would ever be on the other side of the property. So it was interesting to see how these mature bucks kind of had their own sides of an area, or their own home range, and for the most part a lot of them didn't cross paths. So this buck was definitely a lot harder to hunt, because I think for him the edge of his home range was like not barely onto the property, because sometimes he was like in the center of it, but for the most part he really never spent much time on the property. But the plan moving forward for this fall is I'm taking all of the information that we have. I'm looking back at past trail camera photos, figuring out which direction he was headed, looking back at weather data to figure out, okay, what was the weather doing that day? How was the wind? And then just really dissecting it, looking at the map from like a further out view to get an idea of where we think that buck is living. He may not be living exactly on the property we have to hunt, but there's a good chance that we can figure out a plan on what he was doing November 1st to be able to come back this fall and say, okay, it may not be November 1st, but October 28th through November 3rd or 4th, there's a good chance that that Freak Nasty Buck is going to do the same thing again. He's going to slip up, and I'm a true believer that bucks are going to do relatively the same thing at like the same time frame of the year, or this on the same date. It may not be that the exact same date or the exact same time, but it's going to be really, really close. So we can take this information that we have from this season and start building a plan on how we want to attack this buck this fall. And this is a really great time to hang specific deer stands in different parts of the property, just because it's a lot easier to hang stands right now in 40 and 50 degree weather than 80 degrees with canopy and everything. So these are the same thing that you guys can be doing on your property. Take some of the photos and some of the intel that you have, and you can start building that plan on how you want to attack that buck this fall. And I say attack, and it's very a tactical word, but you know what I mean. You can try to build that plan on how to get close to that buck this fall, hoping that you have a shot at him. So that's what we're doing right now. If you can't get out all the time, you can always figure out and dissect different parts of your hunts and start building that plan to help you put that target buck within 20 yards this fall. So that's what we're doing right now. The next couple videos you guys are going to see, you're going to be seeing some turkey hunting videos from Hunter and I's South Dakota trip last May. We saved the footage and we ended up getting a turkey on the ground, had some fun encounters. And then we'll probably have a couple more shed hunting videos because we should be able to get back out again and do some more shed hunting, proper shed hunting on the leases and a couple other parts of the farm. So with that, if you guys liked the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.